She didn't stop loving you. She stopped feeling safe with you. When did you stop being the man that she can follow with her whole heart? Let's talk about the moment everything changed. Here's the truth no one tells men until it's too late. She didn't stop following you because she's cold. She stopped following you because you stopped leading. Not financially, not physically, but emotionally. See, most men think that they're doing enough because the bills are paid and the house isn't on fire and they're not cheating. But that's far from true, as we will see and as you'll see and as we go through this. And, this aspect even boils down, and I'll show you this, but this aspect even boils down when it comes to how you show up, right? Usually when guys have a lot of problems, it gets them to a certain point when they all of a sudden start caring about the relationship. And then, they'll come to us and they'll kind of see and they'll kind of ask how we help. But then they'll be like, oh, it depends if she's willing to. It depends if, I have to find out if she cheated or whatnot. And you can go see our videos on that. It depends. It's all about this. But really, that's just also a lack of leadership, okay? That's 1 foot in, 1 foot out, half-heartedly in there. Now, I'm warning you right now, especially as we go through this video, having that half-hearted momentum, having that half-hearted, we'll see, that is one of the most destructive things that you can do right now, especially if you have a family, especially if you have kids. Because most men think, well, we're good. I'll just go on to the next one. However, they actually haven't done the deeper work and actually got to the core issue. There's only a few of them, core issues. So that carries over into another relationship, or what we call emotional residue or emotional baggage, gets carried over into another relationship, and it starts to poison and infect that relationship as well, which then ends that relationship just the same. Okay? So emotional leadership is at the core of all of it. And that's the bare minimum. That's not leadership, though. That's maintenance. And women don't follow maintenance. They follow direction. They follow presence. They follow certainty. That's why our methods work, even if she isn't on board. Even if she says, let me go, which is actually a test, okay? Even if she's involved with someone else. Now, let me give you an example. Imagine a guy named Matt. He's a successful business owner, works about 60 hours a week, provides a great life for his wife and 2 kids. On paper, he's killing it. But at home, his wife is distant. She doesn't smile at him anymore, doesn't lean into his touch. She avoids eye contact, avoids sex, avoid conversation, unless it's about kids or groceries, which is huge red flag. And I don't believe in smart contact, which is the logistics. So you have to be very careful with all of that. So one night he asks her, what's wrong? And she drops the bomb. I just don't feel anything anymore. I just don't know who you are. He's stunned. I've done everything for us, right? Exactly, though. He did everything, but he didn't lead. He stopped initiating meaningful conversation. He stopped planning. He stopped noticing her emotional cues. He stopped being the emotional compass of the relationship. And over time, she stopped following. Not because she wanted to, but because she felt like she had no choice. So, what's the real problem? It's not that she's done. It's that you've left a leadership vacuum. And she filled it because she became the planner, the organizer, and the emotional driver. So she went into her masculine mode because someone had to keep the family functioning, right? And when that happens, respect fades, desire fades, trust in your leadership fades, which is why you can't just rush and ramrod that stuff. That's the real problem. It's not that she's too emotional. It's that you stop creating the emotional safety she needs to rest in her feminine. Women need to lean on the masculine, okay? The masculine is direction. it's groundedness, it's charge. So if you're sitting there wondering, why won't she follow me anymore? Ask yourself this instead. When did I stop leading? You have to take that element of extreme ownership. When did I stop leading? Well, so how does this happen? How do strong, capable men who crush it in business, on the field, or even in deployment, lose leadership at home? Simple. We confuse providing with leading. So we get so focused on doing, work, earning, the fixing, even trying to fix her, okay, which is a very massive bleeding point, that we forget the most important part of leading is being emotionally present, being decisive, being the calming force when everything's swirling around her emotionally. And here's the kicker. When you stop leading emotionally, she stops trusting you energetically. Even if she can't explain it, she feels it. Let me give you another example. There was a guy named Jason. He's the CEO of a multi-million-dollar business, leads a team of 20, closes high-level deals, and handles pressure like a champ. But at home, he's walking on eggshells. He avoids tough conversation. He thinks if he just gives his wife space, she'll come back. She'll come back around. Spoiler alert, she didn't. She told him one day, I feel like I have to make all the decisions. Like I'm in this alone. Now, this is different. There's like a term that women out there are like mental load. This is way different than that. This isn't mental load. This is her being so stuck in her masculine because that is a survival mode that she is operating on just that survival. See, Jason never cheated. He didn't yell. He didn't lie. But he drifted into passive leadership, waiting for her to guide, to open up, to initiate connection, which is the worst thing you can do, okay? Even if it comes to walking on eggshells, like if you're walking on eggshells right now, big red flag. You have to be able to have those tough conversations. You have to be able to lean into that resistance, lean into that fire, because that's where a true heroic husband is forged. And see, that's what I call nice guy leadership. It looks polite on the surface, but underneath, it's indecision, it's avoidance, and it erodes her sense of safety. Because here's what most men don't realize. A woman can't follow a man who keeps asking her to drive. When you stop leading with grounded strength and clarity, she has to lead, or your relationship crashes. And this is going to get a bunch of people mad, but if a woman is leading a relationship, she's leading it straight into the ground. Deep down, she starts to resent it. Why? Because being in charge isn't her desire. It's her defense. Like I said, survival mode. She steps into that masculine energy to protect herself, and over time, that role becomes exhausting. It takes a lot of willpower for women. So like for guys, especially our coaching clients, I always say, hey, look, it's going to take a lot of willpower, right, for you to get into this emotional state and talk to your wife. But it's also when she's in her masculine, especially if she has a masculine job, like NICU nurses, or she's kind of higher up there in like a business corporate setting, it takes a lot of willpower and it drains her as well. She doesn't want to be your mother. She doesn't want to be your coach. She wants to be your partner, but she can't if you won't lead. So why does it happen? Because we were taught how to lead emotionally. Because we weren't taught how to lead emotionally. We were taught to provide, to grind, to be nice, but leadership, presence, and emotional clarity, no one gave us that playbook. But you've got it now. And in the next section, I'm going to show you how to step back into that leadership role, not by controlling her or fixing her, okay, but by leading yourself. There's something I always tell the men that I coach. How can you ask someone to be led by you if you can't lead yourself? How can you ask respect from others if you don't respect yourself? How can you have boundaries with others if you don't have boundaries with yourself? So let's flip the lens for a minute. I want you to imagine what it feels like from her side. At first, everything feels safe. She admired your strength. She leaned into your presence. She felt chosen, right? like she could relax into her feminine, knowing you had the wheel. And women want to feel claimed, not kept around. But then, bit by bit, you got tired. Work got heavier, life got more routine, and without ever realizing it, you stopped pursuing her. You stopped initiating, you stopped deciding. So she stepped in. She started planning the vacations, running the calendar, making the emotional effort over and over. And slowly, her desire shifted. Not because she stopped loving you, but because the man she could follow disappeared. And now, here's what you need to know. Women don't fall out of love overnight. They drip out one unspoken disappointment at a time, or what we call death by 1,000 cuts. Let me give you a scenario. There's a woman named Rachel. Her husband, Mike, used to lead boldly, planned date nights, led tough conversations, made her feel seen. But over the years, Mike got comfortable. He started playing it safe. He'd say, whenever you want, babe, about everything, from dinner to parenting to where they lived. At first, Rachel appreciated the flexibility, but eventually she started to feel alone, like all the weight was on her shoulders. When she tried to talk to him about it, he'd get defensive or vague. So she stopped bringing things up. That's the shift. And when she stopped feeling emotionally held, she started carrying it all herself. From feeling cherished to feeling like a single parent in a shared house. From looking up to you to looking past you. And here's the hardest part for most men to swallow. The less she trusts your leadership, the less she desires you. Because for the feminine to open up sexually, emotionally, spiritually, she has to feel safe. Safety is her core desire. And safety isn't just about not yelling. It's about being steady, being present, being decisive, even when it's uncomfortable. So if she's cold, guarded, or not in love anymore, it's not because she wants out. It's because her nervous system no longer trusts you to lead her anywhere worth going. But here's the good news. She wants to follow again. She's waiting for proof that the man she once admired is still there. And in the next section, I'm going to show you exactly how to lead again without force, without begging, just by being who you were built to be, that hero inside of you. So now you know the problem and why it happens. Let's talk about what to do instead. So it's about stepping into masculine emotional leadership, the kind that creates safety, attraction, and connection again. Because this isn't about being louder, tougher, or more controlling. And it starts with this. Stop managing her and start leading yourself. See, most guys try to fix the marriage by fixing her. What she feels, what she says, and what she does. Don't do that. But a woman doesn't follow your logic, she follows your energy. If your energy is scattered, passive, or filled with fear, she'll pull back. If your energy is grounded, decisive, and clear, she'll lean in. So here's how to flip the script. Lead with presence, not pressure. Presence means you're fully here, not distracted, not apologizing for who you are, not scanning for her approval. Start small. When she speaks, listen, like really listen. Don't correct, don't explain, just be there. This alone can disarm guarded women faster than any speech you'll ever give. This is because most people just want to feel like you're actually speaking their language, okay? That you actually care and want to connect. 2, decide, then invite. Don't ask her what she wants for dinner every night. Don't make her plan the date night. Don't wait for her to bring up tough stuff. Instead, decide. Then invite her in. Hey, I'm at a reservation for Friday night. I'd love for you to come with me. That one sentence holds more masculine power than hours of trying to talk it out. 3, you got to rebuild the trust gap with consistency. She doesn't trust your words right now. Good. Don't lead with words. Too many men just want to talk and get all the fancy talking tactics, right? We teach men how to have conversations, and it's really just how to have deep conversations with anybody. Lead with evidence. The masculine power is your word, but your word is backed by the masculine action. Start following through on the small stuff. If you say you'll be home by 6, be home by 5:55. If you say you'll fix the fence, fix it before she mentions it again. These micro moments build macro trust. And the trust isn't just for her, it's for you too. Because the more you trust yourself to follow through, the more she'll feel it too. Let me give you an example. There's a guy named Chris. Chris's wife said she was done. She wouldn't talk. She wouldn't engage. She's cold. Instead of chasing her, Chris got clear. He started leading his mornings, early workouts, journal clarity, spiritual time. He stopped over-explaining and started taking action. One night, instead of another "let's talk," he left her a simple note on her nightstand. It said this: "I'm not asking you to believe me yet. Just watch me for a while." That note changed everything because it wasn't a plea, it was leadership. So, what do you do instead? You stop waiting, stop begging, you start leading with calm, clarity, and consistency. In the next section, I'll show you how this leadership creates a magnetic shift where she starts leaning in without you chasing. Because when a man leads with his presence, she doesn't have to fight for her protection. She just gets to follow again. Here's the important truth in this entire video. You don't need her permission to lead. You don't need her energy to start. You don't need her response to rebuild the connection. The turnaround starts with you. Because the version of you she stopped following isn't the version that can lead her now. But the man you become next, that's the man she's hoping will show up. Let me break it down. A woman says she's done. When she pulls away, when she's emotionally numb, it feels like rejection, like your worst fears are coming true. But what if I told you it's not testing your worth, she's testing your consistency. She's watching to see if the man you say you are is real. In our program, we call it peaks and valleys and troughs. Troughs are the really, 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 really bad times, okay? In those valleys, in those troughs, that is where you are forged. That is where she sees your consistency. That is where she sees what she needs to know, that it's not going to go back. Because most women are afraid, terrified, that if they hope again, it'll be taken away. In the military, we learned that the enemy, right, will try to give you hope to break you psychologically. And what they do is they give you hope, make you think that you're going to get your freedom, take it away to break you psychologically. People, when they get that sense of hope and they're like, oh my God, yes, and you rip it away from them, that's how you destroy them. That's how you've been contributing that to your wife. So what do? You decide to become unfazed, not cold, not detached, just rooted. Rooted in who you are, rooted in where you're going, rooted in the kind of husband and father your family needs. Let me give you a real world scenario. There was a guy named Dan. His wife told him, "I'm not attracted to you anymore. I feel like you're just a roommate." Dan used to panic when she'd said things like that. He'd spiral, he'd overtalk, he'd give her space for weeks and hope things would just fix it themselves. But this time he did something different. He got up early, hit the gym, structured his business so that he could be at home at 5, which, by the way, is huge. A lot of guys think they need to work. But the feminine and your children need quality time. You can be on your purpose, actual driven mission, but they need that quality time. Okay? He didn't beg. He didn't overtalk. He just started showing up. He showed up for himself. He showed up for his kids. And most importantly, he showed up with quiet confidence. One night she asked, "Why now? Why are you doing all this?" He looked her in the eye and said, "Because I want to become the man I promised you I'd be, whether you see it now or not." That was the moment her guard started to drop, because the leadership isn't loud, it's felt. If you're waiting for her to meet you halfway, you've already lost. This is your moment to lead with strength, to lead with love, to lead because it's who you are, not because of what you get in return. This is how real change begins, not by fixing her, but by becoming the man she can't help but feel safe around again. And in the final section, I'll show you how to carry that leadership forward so it doesn't fizzle out with time, but becomes who you are every day. So now you know the truth. She didn't stop following because she stopped loving you. She stopped following because she stopped feeling led. And if you're still watching, I know this. You haven't quit. You still care, and deep down, you still believe that there's a way forward. Now, here's the move. Don't write a long emotional note. Don't try to convince her of anything. That's pressure, and it backfires. Instead, show, don't sell. Start rebuilding trust through visible, quiet leadership. Go to bed early. Take care of what you've been avoiding without noticing it or without announcing it. Lead your actions, not your emotions. And if you want to stop guessing what works and start using what actually does, grab the Heroic Husband book. The link is in the description below. Or book a clarity call with us to get a custom strategy based on exactly where you're at. That link is also below. Don't wait for her to believe it. Become the man she can't ignore. This is the first step. Let's take it together. You've got this, and we've got you. See you in the next video.